The first-class cabin of Night Flight 407 is filled with the scent of oak and strong coffee, blending to create a picture that is both luxurious and quiet, as if time had slowed down between the moments of preparation for takeoff. Nia Brooks walked into the cabin with a steady, slow but powerful gait, like a sad jazz song in the middle of the night. Tall, smooth brown skin, elegant pink dress hugging her body, her eyes seemed to read the hidden thoughts of those around her. Her left hand still held the first-class ticket tightly, not just a piece of paper, but like a silent oath, a testament to the value she deserved to receive. Her footsteps stopped in front of seat 2A, where she intended to sit down and rest. But before she could complete that simple journey, a voice rang out, sweet as honey, but cold as a razor. "Sorry, you must have the wrong seat. This seat is taken." It was none other than flight attendant Kara Mitchell, the woman with the seemingly friendly smile but hidden contempt. Nia said nothing, just gently handed over the ticket, her eyes glancing at the board hanging above the cabin with the idealistic words, "Every passenger matters." A faint smile appeared on her lips, a smile that made no sound but was cold to the bone, like a deep irony for that hypocrisy. So why was a woman who clearly had a valid ticket asked to leave her seat? And most curiously, why did she choose silence instead of protesting? The story that follows is not simply a minor collision between a passenger and the flight crew, but a silent and powerful journey of determination and dignity. You'll never know what happened next. And it was Nia's powerful silence that grounded the entire flight crew. Watch and feel, because sometimes the greatest power is not the voice, but the resilient silence. In the quiet VIP cabin of the flight, the pale yellow light shone down on each passenger's face, creating a seemingly quiet and harmonious space. But hidden deep beneath that shell, the tension smoldered like an undercurrent that seeped through every breath. Kara Mitchell, the flight attendant, with a smile that tried to maintain a polite appearance, but her voice contained a layer of low-class meaning, softly echoed in the space. "I understand you have a first-class ticket, but the system may have made a mistake. This seat has been transferred to another passenger. Please move to the business cabin. We will serve you more attentively." Nia Brooks did not respond, just looked straight at Kara, her eyes unwavering, no words of protest. Time seemed to stand still in that moment as she slowly folded the plane ticket, each fold showing her unwavering determination. Standing up, she did not say another word, walking with a leisurely manner and an air of authority, making the atmosphere around her thick and heavy as if it contained many things that had not been said. Whispers began to spread gently around the cabin, like dry leaves swaying in a gentle breeze, carrying curiosity, hesitation, and a little unease. In the middle of that space, Rick Dalton, a white man with a bewildered but not hiddenly satisfied expression, was invited to step up and take the seat that Nia had just vacated. He sat down, his face showing satisfaction, while the eyes of the other passengers still furtively glanced at the woman who had been forced to give up her seat. In the dim light of the first-class cabin, Linda James, a white female passenger with a delicate face and sharp eyes, witnessed the whole thing that had just happened. Her eyes, full of sensitivity and deep feeling, briefly met Nia's steadfast gaze, like a wordless and meaningful dialogue between two souls. But then, Linda turned away, as if wanting to escape a truth that was too heavy to face. On her lips, a word wanted to be uttered, a silent protest, but then gradually disappeared into the silence that surrounded, as if afraid that her voice would only increase the invisible burden that was oppressing everyone. Nia walked past, her elegant pink dress still neatly arranged, each step light and steady as if unmoved by the looks or whispers around her. Her gait maintained its noble and confident demeanor, like a living symbol of resilience amidst the storm silently raging inside the cabin. These moments were not just a mere event, but also a faint reminder of the invisible distances, the unspoken but deeply held prejudices between people. Nia gently lowered herself into the business class seat, which was not only a seat, but also a symbol of status, power, and respect. But today, for her, it was a place of patience, a silent test that she was forced to undergo. In the quiet moment, Nia pulled out an old book from her bag, Letters to My Daughter, the gift of love and comfort from her mother during her difficult years. Her hand gently touched the cover, feeling each fold, each trace of time, as if to remind her of the strength from the past and the motivation to not give up. Her index finger paused on the dedication, her mother's handwriting still gentle but no less fierce. You don't need to prove yourself worthy. Just sit down, as if you were born to be there. Those words echoed in her mind, not as a weak consolation, but as a strong challenge, an invisible source of strength that touched the depths of her heart. Those words taught her that it was not the person who had to justify or ask for permission to exist, but that her calm, steady presence was the strength that made those prejudices falter. At that moment, another flight attendant approached, her eyes filled with sympathy and goodwill, seemingly wanting to ease the awkwardness of the situation. But Nia just gently raised her hand to signal, resolutely without words. It was a clear sign that she did not need words of comfort that were meant to be treated with pity, because in her, endurance was not resignation, but a strength that had been trained through every experience, every challenge in life. Silent but powerful, Nia chose to maintain her dignity, not letting anyone guess what she was facing inside, nor letting anyone feel that they were the weak one in this story. At the back of the cabin, where soft light filtered through the small windows, an elderly man in a neat gray suit sat quietly observing. It was Mr. Chase, a prestigious and powerful figure, a former member of the Vanguard Human Rights Council, an organization known for its strictness and intolerance of injustice. His eyes never left Nia Brooks, the woman who had once made his heart ache, who had brought him to tears during a lecture on justice and human rights not long ago. The image of her today, sitting motionless in the business cabin, carrying her endurance and dignity intact, made him suddenly realize that the fight for justice had never stopped. As if by reflex, Mr. Chase pulled the phone from his pocket, his fingers shaking slightly but firmly dialing the number. Without a word of greeting or interruption, he spoke immediately in the sharp voice of someone who had experienced many challenges. "Stop Flight 407. Immediately. And send my apologies to Nia Brooks." Each word was an irrefutable command, like a silent alarm bell, triggering a chain of events that were about to happen. In that dim light, Mr. Chase's silent call was not just the action of an individual, but a symbol of justice beginning to speak. Belatedly, but strongly and uncompromisingly. The silence of the business-class cabin seemed to fall, waiting for the next response, as if the air was heavy with tension and hope intertwined, causing all eyes to follow the slightest movement in the cabin, to witness the miracle that could happen right before their eyes. Before, now, stood silently to the side, her face so pale that the headlights shone through her thin skin. The suspension had come without warning, like a sudden storm, causing the wall of pride she had built in the cabin to begin to crack. The captain turned to Nia with a gaze that was both sincere and calm, his words gentle but filled with recognition and respect. "We sincerely apologize. Seat 2A is still yours." Those words were like a breath of fresh air, blowing away all the doubts and pain that Nia had suffered just a few minutes before. It was not simply an apology, but also a recognition of her inherent value and rights, a dot of justice and dignity restored. Rick Dalton, the white man who had taken Nia's seat, silently packed his things. His footsteps were heavy, but he did not look directly at anyone, as if he could sense the helplessness and implicit condemnation from the eyes around him. The atmosphere in the cabin became strangely quiet, like a symphony ending with a deep bass note, ending the tense drama and marking the shift of power. In that moment, justice was no longer a distant thing, but present right before his eyes, subtle and unexpected like a quiet wind in the midst of peace. Linda James stood in the middle of the cabin, her eyes hesitant as if struggling with her own pent-up emotions. She turned to look at Nia, her voice choked, as if trying to release a burden from deep within her heart. "I should have spoken up. I was wrong." Those words were not just a simple admission, but a sincere regret, breaking through the wall of silence she had built between the crowd and herself. Nia did not respond with blame or anger. Her eyes were gentle, filled with understanding and tolerance that only those who had gone through similar trials could feel. Her voice was soft, carrying the warmth of kindness, like a wordless comfort for herself and those who had been immersed in silence. "It's okay. Sometimes we learn the deepest lessons when we silently witness ourselves. That moment was not only a reconciliation between two people, but also a door that opened for change, for a world where the voices of justice and compassion were no longer stifled. Nia stood there, not only the victor in that fight, but also the one who planted the seeds of quiet but powerful change in the hearts of those around her. In the final silence of the flight, those who witnessed it could not forget that image, a testament that true strength comes not only from words, but also from forgiveness and the courage to look straight at oneself. The plane gently glided off the runway, the sound of the engine resounding like the strong heartbeat of an unfinished story. Nia closed her eyes, leaning her head against the seat, an image of strange peace amidst the recent noise. Her hand gently squeezed the picture of her mother. The dim light from the cabin light shining on her cheekbones seemed to add to her resilient, indomitable beauty. She didn't need to scream, didn't need to argue, didn't need to file a complaint. All she had was her dignified silence, and that was what made the entire system bow its head, recognizing the power of justice and perseverance. Some flights don't have to be very far to be considered a journey. Sometimes it's enough to carry a truth, to deliver it where it needs to be heard most, in each other's hearts, in this community, in the wider society. And Nia's story is a living testament to that power. What do you think of this story? Is Nia's silence enough to change rigid prejudices? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to discover more stories that touch the heart, inspire, and awaken conscience. Thank you for joining me on this emotional storytelling journey.